broad majority of Australians won't know this, and I'm going to explain some things to you that are going to shock you.
Now, 2 months ago, I noticed that the AFL and the Rugby League were being sued because they had jerseys with the Aboriginal flag on them, and they couldn't sell them. I thought, well, it's a national flag. Why can't they have them on there? Like the Australian flag, you can have it on any T-shirt. You could sell it. You could start a business tomorrow selling the Australian flags or shirts with the Australian flag on it because it's a nationally recognised flag. I thought the Aboriginal flag was a nationally recognised flag, but it is. It is a nationally recognised flag, but it's owned by one individual, a guy by the name of Harold Thomas.
Proven. I've always had copyright. This is the case that any artist who creates an image that there's their own self-manifestation under common law rights and world right, you own copyright. That's the fact.
One of his students, a white student, I'm not going to do any dirty blows here, but a white student of his claimed that he stole it off him. That's a whole other saga. But anyway, Harold Thomas won in court and won the copyright rights.
Harold, just to cover some of these claims, and one of them goes back to art school. There was an assertion made that you had borrowed this design off a student. Can you just put that right?
Well, in the court case, he was a student in 1973. That's the answer to the question. Flag was done in 1971.
So he allowed a flag company called Carroll and Richardson, which is basically Flag World, to commission his flag and to sell his flag. But he gets a profit, he gets royalties from it.
I made an agreement with a non-Aboriginal company called Carroll and Richardson in the very few months after.
I didn't know this. If you go to Flag World's website, and I'm not knocking Flag World, they do good flags, but if you go to their website, you'll notice the Aboriginal flag and the Australian flag are two different prices. You pay, in some cases, like $30 more for the same flag because it's Aboriginal. I emailed them and they said that they're going to pay royalties to somebody. I don't think they said who, but they just said royalties. Now that's to Harold Thomas. Okay, so he's getting royalties from the flag, but the problem here is that the Australian government get all their flags from this company. All of them.
I made an agreement with a non-Aboriginal company called Carroll and Richardson in the very few months after. The government then had no choice because that's the rules. The government has to get validation of me making an agreement with a company that will make flags of the best quality. It's happened. So the government acquires the Aboriginal flag from a legal organisation that has an agreement with the author of the Aboriginal flag, and those flags that the government acquires are spread around throughout Australia to all government agencies.
So I did some Google searching, and there's an article from the ABC that's been since deleted. I don't know if it's been covered up. Who knows? They probably just deleted it. But it's from 2016, where they found in a 6-month period, federal ministers spent over $760,000 just on flags. Now, we all know the rules. I don't know in the city, I don't know what it's like in the country, but I'm pretty sure every council building, every government building, every school, every community centre has to have an Aboriginal flag. So out of that $760,000 for a 6-month period, a third of that would have to be Aboriginal flags. So the Aboriginal flags purchased from the company Flag World, Carroll and Richardson, the extra $20 or $30 you're paying for each flag goes directly, or with a little bit going to Flag World, but goes directly to Harold Thomas, sitting on his bum. Now, he did invent it, it is his, but why would you nationalise a flag that we don't own? Or that we have to pay royalties to? This is one dude making millions. For over 2 decades, he's made a killing of our tax money because of political correctness. Because the Aboriginals, I'm not knocking Aboriginals, I'm just saying, you just complain, why can't we have our own flag? Why can't we have our own flag? A guy invents one, copyrights it, shifty bugger. Then we're forced to nationalise the flag, but out of political correctness, and now we have to foot the bill for him to live on our tax money. It's insane. I'm talking million. This guy would be a multi-millionaire. Now, the reason I'm doing this video is because I've read a lot of articles, and a lot of Aboriginals are pissed off because he not only is making money off the Aboriginal flag with our tax money, they're not pissed off about that. They're pissed off because the companies he's hired are now suing local Aboriginal shops and all sorts of places where they're selling the Aboriginal flag, and now they can't.
a non-Indigenous company is controlling an Aboriginal flag, that I have to ask permission of a non-Indigenous person if I can share and celebrate my identity.
Australian flag, because that's what it is. The Aboriginal flag is the Aboriginal flag.
We speak to protect our culture and our law, LORE law, and these fellas have the LAW law, and they have the knowledge of that, well, we don't.
Access to the Aboriginal flag is about pride and not profit.
So the Aboriginal community are pretty frustrated with old Harold Thomas and his deep pockets. He not only licensed rights to the Aboriginal flag to a flag company, which produces flags for the Australian government, and he receives royalties for it. He licensed rights to a company called Wham, which produces t-shirts and didgeridoos and boomerangs. The problem with that is, the owner of Wham, or the co-founder, Ben Rooster, was the owner of another company called Berry which was found guilty in a court of fraudulent activities because they were mass-producing didgeridoos and boomerangs in Indonesia by Indonesians and selling it as Aboriginal art.
18,000 products it's sold in souvenir stores since 2014.
Mr. Wooster.
They're serious claims, which Mr. Wooster had no interest in explaining when we caught up with him in Brisbane.
I'd like to have a chat to you about selling fake Aboriginal art products.
Well, I'm not obliged to comment.
You're not obliged,
Thank you.
but have you any shame?
Can you please leave the property?
The allegations, which are refuted by Birraby Art, will be heard in federal court later this year.
So he's making money off both. This guy will be a massive millionaire. Massive scam. This is a massive scam. And when I say scam, he's not doing anything illegal, but still, it's a scam on Australian taxpayers. Now, that would be like, let me say, like someone, imagine if a white guy invented Aboriginal dot painting, and then every time an Aboriginal did a dot painting, he would sue him. Like he couldn't do dot painting.
Aboriginal art as we know it today as contemporary modern art goes back to 1971. A school teacher called Jeff Barden.
Well, you don't need to imagine. A white guy actually did invent dot painting. I'm not joking. A white guy did invent it. This is absolute craziness. I don't want my tax money going to some random dude because the government was forced due to political correctness to purchase flags that he has royalties to. This is a massive scam, and it's a massive scandal. Catches, guys.
I am the custodian. No one's in front of me. I created it. I conceptualized it. I have exclusive rights to that flag.